Hi folks, welcome back to Soccer Card Markets. So today's video, just looking to get into what what sort of cards represent, beyond maybe the obvious, go into some of the obvious things too. But yeah, just like what value do they represent? Cards, stickers, either one. Um, yeah, so let's get into this one. Yeah, so collecting soccer cards is, well, it's a number of things. Hopefully, the first thing, it's just fun to do. Otherwise, what's the point? Why would you go through the pain of um, missing out on a bid at the last second from some sniper, unless you enjoy doing it? Yeah, so fun, something to do. And then also, it's got the attachment to sport, obviously. Whether that's, I don't know, some people go to a lot of games, some people will follow a team from a sort of distance, which is what I do. Unfortunately, the Scottish football standard isn't that great, so I support a team down in England. Yeah, so I mean, if nobody was interested in football, then no one would, really care about the football cards. So, it's all interlinked. Um, if your team does well, depending on who you support, obviously that can spike some interest and all that sort of thing. I guess fortunately, I've never really followed a team that gets relegated a lot or gets involved in all that sort of stuff. But I can only imagine the pain of going through all that. But yeah, but people collect cards of many different teams. It doesn't matter whether they're successful or not. We've got star players and all that sort of thing. So yeah, ultimately collecting football cards is something fun to do. It's a hobby of a kind. Um, yeah, and beyond that, you've got the sort of inbuilt sort of element of predicting abilities of players. Definitely, you know, somewhat akin to gambling. You just have no idea how any particular player is going to perform in a season, let alone a 10-year gap or longer, as most players are playing longer now. We've seen all sorts of scandals and stupid stuff happening, even when players have retired, which, like Ryan Giggs, just abysmal, some of the stuff he's been up to. If I had been collecting his cards, I would no longer want to collect his cards. Some people can kind of separate a player's performance on a pitch and their personal life. I don't know, for me, they're pretty much intertwined. If someone's just a prize asshole, well, I'm not really interested in collecting their cards whatsoever. Um, yeah, so especially the gambling elements tied into, rookies more than any other cards, which is kind of funny, obviously, because the rookie cards tend to be the ones that cost the most, and yeah, it's uh, it's a risky business. If you get it right, obviously, it can pay off. But the way the market is now, anyways, or the way knowledge travels so fast in the world nowadays, it's if anyone's even got a vague finger on the pulse of what's going on in football, the next sort of big thing or the next prospect is already well known before any of the first cards ever get printed. So yeah, there's just not as many unknown quantities now in that regard. So, but that doesn't decrease the risk of buying into some higher end rookie cards. Because you just never know what's going to happen. And yeah, on that note, think about this one. even seasoned managers, these people have been in the game of football for decades, expertise. They've got scouting networks. They've got whole clubs dedicated to finding and managing and keeping the best talents in the game that that club can afford. They make multi-million pound mistakes every single transfer window. Every single team does this at some point, which goes to show the fickle nature of sport, of performance, of people's robustness of their personalities and how they cope with adversity or injury or not playing all the time or playing in a foreign country, all these different factors. So even the people in the game, up close and personal, who have perhaps had a scout follow players for years before they even sign them, and then the player goes to that club and then they don't perform. I mean, there's people are complicated. Like this is something with football cards. You're essentially buying into the personality of the player on some level. So and people are just complicated. Like people are unpredictable. You don't know what a lot of people are going to do. So buying into their cards as a kind of some form of a stock, yeah, it's risky, but yeah, it's fun. That's what makes it fun as well. So if you're in it from a even just partially a money kind of side, and you hope to kind of capitalize on spotting some early talents that pay off in later years. That's part of the whole fun of this card collecting thing. Um, and yeah, like that's partly what I do. Beyond just collecting, is yeah, just to do that. And it's nice if you can buy a card that's going for 10 and you can sell it for 30 or whatever, and then buy the card of cards or stickers of players that you really want. And that's just a fun part of the whole hobby. And yeah, obviously you've got the sort of historical aspect of sport as well. Like there's particular seasons maybe that stand out, or particular moments in a match. For example, like there's a Messi card with him holding up his Barcelona jersey to the crowd. I think he scored 2 goals against Real Madrid, and yeah, it's just an iconic shot of him interacting with the fans, even though at a distance. Yeah, and then that all ties in, like nostalgia and people reminiscing about this player, that player that they used to watch. Like the Last Dance documentary about the Chicago Bulls, I think that spiked a lot of nostalgia in people who used to collect basketball cards. That's coincidentally, well, I got in soccer cards and stickers probably about a year before that, but I had collected before. But yeah, it was definitely a heavy dose of nostalgia. So that's also quite an important memory, or quite an important element of the whole collecting thing. But here's kind of what I want to go into more, instead of all the sort of money side and the fun side and the collecting side and all that, is yeah, to look beyond those elements and perhaps see these cards and stickers as a form of art. Time will tell. So yeah, just a little a brief sort of glimpse at the hobby history, at least in terms of Panini. Anyways, I was a bit lazy, I didn't do a tops one. But yeah, so top left there you can see that's one of the first Panini Calciatori sticker packets from 1961, which is when Panini first started publishing stickers. So, that's like a 60-year plus legacy that Panini have, and a particular association with football as well. Whereas Topps started out doing, I think, baseball, basketball, all that sort of stuff, before they ever touched the football market. So you can see the sort of classic designs there. It looks like is that an AC Milan kit? Maybe not. Uh, Anyways, um, yeah. So, and then one of the real breakthroughs for Panini and iconic sort of moment in the company's history was the Mexico World Cup in 1970. So the World Cup sticker albums, they've been going since then, and yeah, well, I can't see that stopping anytime soon. It's just a lot of fun. And yeah, I remember there was a big rush about it this year, well, last year, 2022. Um, and there's even some documentaries and stuff about it in newspapers, which is almost unheard of. That's how big collecting's become, and the sort of more recent interest in the last 2 or 3 years. And yeah, perhaps most iconic of all, especially in sort of older sets of stickers, is the Maradona. I believe that's 1979 Calciatore sticker. It has a great look to it. Just an iconic pose. Although he's not actually in his Napoli strip, which is kind of funny, but that is considered, I believe, his sort of first. Well, it's one of his most collectible anyway. Stickers from that era, and then some of the other great players I've just kind of included here. So you've got Cristiano Ronaldo's first international tournament at Euro 2004, which got to finals, and they somehow lost to Greece. Yeah, no one's quite figured out how that happened since. So yeah, that's his first sort of major release sticker. Then you've got Messi, his 2006 World Cup. He didn't actually play that much in that World Cup, but he did have a bit of a breakthrough nonetheless. And Argentina was always a major team in international tournaments. Then you've got Pele autographed Panini Prism from 2014 set, which is kind of like one of these iconic sets of all time in collecting football. Unfortunately, I wasn't around. Well, I wasn't in the hobby around that time to really get into any of those packs at reasonable prices. But yeah, it's just one of those kind of I guess Grail sets. First kind of major release with sort of had serial printed numbered cards, had autos, lots of different parallels, and yeah, highly collectible. Then you've got Kylian Mbappe from Russia 2018 when he won the World Cup with the French team. It's not a particularly rare sticker, but yeah, it's one of the stickers that anyone who collects kind of wants to have in their collection. And there's some different versions of pink backs and black backs, and I can't remember if there's any other variations of that. Actually, yeah, there's a Swiss version. There's gold, and then there's silver as well. So obviously an important sticker there for Mbappe, and of course Mr. Erling Braut Haaland's pretty famous 2019-20 Austrian Bundesliga rookie sticker, with very traditional Panini kind of pose, with the portrait as the picture. So that's just a little brief glimpse at the stickers. But what I want to get into, and keep in mind the sort of idea of cards as a form of art. Well, feast your eyes on these beauties, like Chasing Glory. The orange is just a really cool card. The red version's really nice as well. And David Alba, I'm not a particular fan of his, but it's just doesn't matter really who is on the card. It's just in this particular instance, it's just a great card, great design, and yeah, just really pops and has a great look to it. One of the best inserts released in the last 2-3 years, in my opinion. You've got next along, so you've got top Futera Heritage 22-23. Just beautiful, clean cards. No fancy stuff. No laser technology. No, incredible printing stuff. Just clean, great picture. Minimalist. Looks great. Beautiful set. Jude Bellingham. So this is from the Top Decker release last season. Actually, no, it's this year, 22-23. Seems like ages ago, especially being the off season. But yeah, that particular insert I think is just yeah, an outstanding card in terms of like aesthetics. Like, just look at the design, a lot of intricacy, but it's also very clean. It's got a very well, obviously deco look to it, but yeah, it just looks fantastic. And that's not in a particularly good light, that card either, whoever took the picture. Yeah, just a great card. Then you've got kind of yeah, I'd say it's quite an iconic release from the Panini Chronicles set from 2019-20. This is one of Rafael Leao's few rookie cards actually from that year. It's just got a very clean look to it. I've heard some people say they're not really that keen on them, but yeah, I think it's really nice. It's a cool idea, the kind of rookie ticket idea, and it doesn't matter what player is featured on the card for that particular insert. It's just a yeah, really clean, well designed card, just kind of balanced with the image as well. Next along, yeah, this is another, I think, classic from Topps, really. The Topps Merlin Shimmer. I think these are out of 75 from the 2020-21 season. Again, am I a particular fan of Edward Mendy? No, not really, but this is just a great example of the card. And yeah, I mean, just check out the technology, or like the printing, whatever they use to do that, to create the effect, the shimmer effect. It's the card just looks fantastic. It's yeah, again, doesn't matter what players are. The cards just look great, and that's why they're quite sought after. And then you can compare that with the Heritage Harry Kane one. Complete opposites, but both beautiful cards in their own right. And next along, we've got good old Leo Messi. This is the first Kaboom set for soccer. I'm not sure if Kaboom had been around before in other sports. I know they definitely exist in other sports, but this was the first Kaboom insert for football. So, I imagine for any Messi collectors, this is a real, chase card for them. Again, the picture in this one could be better. In a different light, it looks even better as a card. But there's something just super cool about the design. It's got that kind of comic book writing. It's got the kind of comic book feel to the whole thing. It's clean. There's like the image is I mean, really well selected in this example. and yeah, it just looks phenomenal. Another one that I've always liked, although maybe not so much of Jadon Sancho. Yeah, the Donruss Optic Explosive. So that's from 2018, 2019, and yeah, just a great card. It's a little bit similar to Kaboom in that it's kind of got that almost comic book cartoonish uh, aesthetic to it. But yeah, just looks it's a stunning card, great colours on it, and the sort of player busting through like onto the scene kind of thing. Um, I guess similar to the Topps Deco, the Merlin Prophecy Fulfilled. It's got that kind of intricate designs, quite a lot of detail. But it's another example of just a really nice card, a really nicely designed card. Again, this picture that you can see probably doesn't really do it justice. You kind of have to see some of these cards in a certain angle of light. But yeah, another really cool insert that was released last year. And yeah, a little auto here. Again, forgets who some of these players are. They're not the biggest names in the game or whatever, but these are just some good pictures that I found of these particular cards, or the best I could find. So yeah, from the beautiful Donruss guitar set, the Nico Gaitan auto you can see there. It's from the beautiful game set, and that's a numbered version. But yeah, the the pictures and the aesthetic and like the balance of the card just looks it's one of the best autograph cards that I can think of. Just looks really good. They haven't put too much stuff or anything on the card, and yeah, it's just got a beautiful, clean look to it, and um, the beautiful game, if you're not aware, is what people call football. It's one of those kind of things that's been referred to for quite some time. So when people talk about the beautiful game, that's what they're talking about. And yeah, it's just a excellent set. So next one, few more examples here. So you've got again another really nice, clean, just aesthetic card here. The Panini Noir. I believe that came out in 2016 or was it 17? One of the two. And this is an on-card auto of Neymar Jr. Again, just beautiful, clean card, an on-card auto. What more could you ask for? And it's all sort of color matched, two-tone kind of look to it. Stadium Club Chrome, that's from 21-22. So Robert Lewandowski, yeah, just some of the photography in Stadium Club, whether it's last year or the year before, just stunning. Some real stunning pictures. There's some weird ones, like there's a picture of a guy in a go-kart, which I don't know. But yeah, some of the photos, like that one of Lewandowski, just incredible photography. And yeah, the whole design of the cards just looks great. A further one. So yeah, again, Ramirez. Not really a player I'm collecting, but just the Panini Flawless set. Forget which year that's from, but yeah, just another. And again, I'm not a fan of patch cards whatsoever, unless they're game worn and actually from a particular game. But just another example of a super clean card. Great match of the auto, the action shot, and the um, subtle lettering and detail. I feel like I'm going into Patrick Bateman sort of territory here. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, so another Stadium Club. Stadium Club Chrome. This time Jude Bellingham. Again, same set as the Lewandowski one above, but yeah, just a fantastic picture. I mean, look, what a celebration! And then just to add a little bonus, Haaland's just sort of running through the back of the picture there with a big smile on his face. Another fantastic one. Again, if I was a Messi collector, I'd absolutely want this card. From Topps Inception 2021. Yeah, the perfect 10. I mean, who better to have on that card than Leo Messi? And the auto, the color matching, the particular photo they've chosen for that, just excellent. The cards are really beautiful and have real quality to them as well. Just talking about this guy a moment ago. So Erling Haaland's. This is from Topps' Living Set, which I'm not a massive fan of in general, but there are some players whose Living Set cards have some significance. I think Haaland's is one of them. And yeah, I mean, you can maybe compare this to the statue that was made of Ronaldo. Not exactly doing him any favors in this picture. But it is just a very cool retro card. I can't remember how many have been printed of these Haaland cards, but for any Haaland collector, I think it's a must to get one of those cards. It's just a cool, classic retro feel, and sort of slightly exaggerates sort of caricatures of players' features to some degree as well. And next up, yeah, Marco Reus. Will he ever win a Bundesliga in the next few years? It doesn't look like it, especially after last season. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, Topps Chrome Sapphire Bundesliga edition. This is from 2020-21, and yeah, if you've seen one of these cards, I believe this is 299. If you've seen one of these cards, they just look phenomenal, and with the whole color match happening with the Dortmund kit, yeah, just a really stunning card. The Sapphire cards, I mean, they are nice, but I think that particular one for any Dortmund player is an excellent card in terms of looks. And yeah, I'll just I know I mentioned Stadium Club Chrome a few times already, but again, look at the Cristiano Ronaldo card. Look at the sort of the shot choice, the photograph, iconic pose. You can kind of feel the energy from the card just because he's caught in that moment of celebrating a goal. I mean, just iconic. And then it just so happens that the background and everything's all matched in to the color scheme as well. So yeah, just super card, and that's a base card, you know, in that particular example. So yeah, let's just cover a little bit about cards, soccer cards as art. So a bit of a, if you don't know, that's a Van Gogh at the top, one of the more famous artists, although he never sold any major pictures when he was alive. Sad times. Anyways, yeah, so if you can see soccer cards as some sort of art form, you know, you've got all the many different elements to it. You got, you know, amazing graphics in some of them, stunning photography like Stadium Club Chrome. Some of the color schemes are just top notch as well. You can really tell when one of the bigger printing companies has really taken some time to go into the layout of the cards and how they're going to look. You know, if they haven't rushed them out. Yeah, iconic poses and moments like we just saw with Cristiano Ronaldo. And then obviously there's printing technologies that exist now that didn't exist previously. Um, Although interestingly, just on that note, yeah, sort of like the Prism from 2014. I mean, not much has changed in that regard. Like you still get the tops chrome, you still get the Prism nowadays. Much the same. Yeah, just as a little example of really cool card, I've got the Mo Salah Star Factor there from the Revolution set from this year. Just yeah, some people don't really like the inserts, however, I really can't understand that. It's a fantastic card. Looks beautiful. Uh, the die cut element just adds something extra to it, and yeah, great design and something different. There's got to be something different than just getting the same standard size cards all the time. So it's a nice switch up, and there's been other really nice die cut cards out there previously too. So yeah, when it comes to the sort of collectability of soccer cards, ultimately the aesthetic appeal of a card will rarely be more important than rarity, or will it? Yeah, I think that's debatable. Obviously, rarity is a huge factor. However, sort of consider this: would you prefer a card that's rare but ugly? Sort of if you're going to display it or put on a wall or something. Yeah, would you prefer the ugly card that's rare, or the card that's not super rare but it's rare-ish and it looks great? Yeah, I think the aesthetic appeal of cards, I think it's actually quite underrated, and I think cards as pieces of art, they're certainly pieces of design, that's for sure. And yeah, some of the cards that have been put out there, designed by whoever teams, Topps, Panini, Leaf, so on. Really, just some of them are just really are stunning. And if you could, I don't know, blow them up into like a sort of um, size that you could actually hang on a wall, obviously you wouldn't want to hang the actual card on the wall because the sunlight and so on, the elements would get to it. But yeah, it's something to consider. I might have even seen somebody do something like that, like they've got some shop selling, like blown up versions of cards and stickers. Anyways, um, yeah. So and yeah, rarity. It's the main driver of of collecting soccer in terms of value. Um, but I do think the aesthetic appeal is really important, and it certainly is when in the cards that I collect. And obviously, if you can combine the two, that's where you want to be. But yeah, it's just something to consider your collection. You know, the whole artistic element of cards, and beyond, are they worth this much, or like whatever it is, like do they stand up as individual pieces of art? Which some of them gradually starting to think of them as, even though obviously they're not mostly done by actual artists with paint and so on. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I want to talk about today. I guess I did. And yeah, there's been Soccer Card Markets, and until next time, I'll see you then, and might even do a shorter video next time too.